The pen didn't even work when she shoved it into my hand. Cheap plastic. Blue ink, half dried. A notary stood behind her, expression rehearsed, waiting for my signature. My mother-in-law smiled, the kind of smile that hides a blade. "It's just a formality, sweetheart," she said. "We need to protect the family's assets." The paper was a transfer of ownership, of my company. $25.6 million worth of inheritance folded neatly into her trap. That was the day after my wedding. When I first met Daniel, he was the kind of man who made still water look deep. Quiet, kind, a little uncertain, or maybe just pretending. He'd lost his father young, raised by his mother who sacrificed everything for him. I admired that loyalty. I mistook control for care. He made me feel safe enough to stay silent about my inheritance. It wasn't deceit, it was survival instinct. My grandfather had taught me, wealth draws wolves. And Daniel? He smiled too easily when I talked about trust funds, estate law, or how my grandfather built everything from dirt and sweat. So I stayed quiet. I let him believe I was just another architect with a modest salary and a complicated past. The day after the wedding, they showed up together, him and his mother. Matching smugness. A notary, a briefcase, and an air of inevitability. "It's just paperwork," Daniel said, voice soft, "to merge everything for tax purposes." My hands didn't shake, not then, because I'd already known. 2 weeks before the wedding, I'd seen the email. His mother had forwarded him a draft of the asset consolidation agreement. I found it on the family computer. She'd forgotten to log out. The subject line read, "She'll sign anything once the ring's on her finger." I remember the silence that followed, the kind of silence that rewrites a person. I didn't confront him, not right away. Instead, I made an appointment with my lawyer, quietly. We created a shell company, a holding firm in another name. Every share of my grandfather's business moved there. Every document updated, legally, invisibly. By the time I walked down that aisle, the company no longer existed on paper as mine. It belonged to someone else, someone who would never betray me. Me, under another name. When they arrived the next morning, I played along. I smiled. I signed. I handed the papers over. They left looking victorious. I remember the sound of their laughter fading down the hall. For a week, nothing happened. Then Daniel stopped coming home. His calls went unanswered. His mother posted a picture of herself at a luxury resort, #new beginnings. I waited. 3 months later, I got a call from her lawyer. Apparently, the transferred assets didn't exist. The holding company was empty, just a name on paper. They'd tried to liquidate. They'd found nothing. I listened to the lawyer stammer, his voice thin with confusion. I said nothing until he asked if I wanted to file a countersuit. "No," I said. "Let them stew." A month later, Daniel showed up at my office. He looked thinner, desperate. "I didn't know," he said. "It was her idea, I swear." I watched him break, piece by piece, like wet paper in my hands. He wanted forgiveness, or access, maybe both. "You wanted to build a life," I said. "You should have started with honesty." He started crying, ugly, raw. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Then I remembered the notary, the ink on my hand, the way his mother smirked as she called me sweetheart. I leaned forward. "You signed your name next to hers," I whispered. "You picked your side." It took 6 months for their house to foreclose. Her accounts were frozen after an audit. She'd mixed her funds with transferred assets that were never hers. Daniel moved back in with her. Last I heard, they were selling furniture online, piece by piece. Sometimes I drive past the company headquarters at night. The lights are always on in the top floor. That's where my grandfather's portrait hangs, the same one he had in his study. He once told me, "The quiet ones win wars." He was right. I kept my silence. I let them believe I was naive. I let them dig their own graves with every forged smile and whispered lie. Now, I'm the only one standing. And when I think about that morning, the notary, the papers, the forced pen, I don't feel anger anymore, just clarity. They thought marriage made me theirs. They forgot who I was before the ring, the granddaughter of a man who built an empire from dust and taught me exactly how to bury the unworthy in it.